You came up here basically as a skeptic, a Capra, a non-believer, so to speak. You thought that a lot of these people coming out to the middle of the desert and nowhere were simply ufologists. They wanted to see something, and half of it was a creation in their own mind. But you came with Paul, who's seen many things in the past, and Ivy West, and then you came over here to the Little Alien.
Yep.
And they said, well, if you want to see something, you're going to go out to the highway right behind us.
Right, and go south.
And then you're going to go south and about 20 miles, so the mile 29 and a half marker, and then to the west. And that's where you'll see something. You can see S4 and any craft that's coming up from the Groom Lake facility. Instead, you went out to the highway, and you turned north about 20 miles, and you went to the east, the wrong way.
Yeah.
What happened in your mind to make wrong way Jordan do that?
I have no idea why I turned and went the opposite way, because Paul was sitting in the back seat, Ivy was sitting in the front seat. We just got through hearing that if you want to go anywhere, you go where the tourists go. You go south for 20 miles to the mailbox. I got out on the highway, and for some reason I turned left and went north for 20 miles, and Paul didn't notice it. Ivy didn't notice it. We didn't notice it until we hit the 20-mile, and there was no mailbox, and then it occurred to us we've gone totally the wrong way.
Well, Paul, I think we had taken the wrong turn because we were pulling out of the driveway, and Jordan was pretty excited because he was saying, I think we may actually see something tonight, because I had been to a person who has psychic tendencies and said, you'll be with a man and you'll be with a woman, you'll be in the middle of the desert, you'll see something. He was kind of excited about that, and I was thinking, yeah, right, Jordan, okay. And then, he goes left, and we were all just listening to, that whole description about how something might happen, and that's how I think we ended up going in the wrong way.
So both of you guys go northeast rather than southwest, and
That's right.
Can you tell me what occurred next? But were you the first to see it, or was Paul?
No. When we got to the 20-mile mark, and then, of course, it occurred to us we're going the wrong way, I stopped the car, and then I said, let's turn around and go back to the Alien, stay overnight, and then we'll go tomorrow night and do it right, go south. And so Paul and Ivy said, no, let's drive out into the desert. There was a beautiful new, like a well-kept dirt road out into the desert, and Paul and Ivy said, let's drive out in the desert. And I said to them, we're in the desert, and it's very overcast, so you're not going to see anything anyway. I don't want to go out in the desert. I want to stay on the highway. And Paul and Ivy insisted we go out a little bit into the desert. So I went out in the desert, and I knew we shouldn't have done that. And I started feeling about a mile out into the desert, I began to feel there's something wrong here. I got a very strong feeling that I had done something wrong. And I stopped the car and I said, Ivy, Paul, I want to get out of here. I don't know what it is, but we've done something. We're not supposed to be here. I backed the car up quickly and started to take off. And Paul and Ivy said, look, the least you could do is stay for a couple of moments.
We've come this far. Also, the mile markers go in both directions. So we did find a 29-mile marker there, and we turned around a few times, no black mailbox, And so when we finally stopped to try to figure out what to do, there's virtually no roads out here, but we had stopped, and it was right next to this road. So figured, okay, let's go down this road since we're here. And then we got down to where Jordan was talking about, and we had turned around. And we convinced him to stop so we could just get out and look, because we'd come that far. Why not?
Yeah, and I did not want to stop out there in the desert, because now we're about a mile out into the desert on a dirt road, not on the highway. And I told Paul and Ivy, I don't like it. There's something wrong here. I feel it. I want to get out of here. And Paul and Ivy said, no, at least stay here for a moment. So I said, all right. So we shut the engine off. It's totally overcast. Totally overcast. We get out of the car, the three of us. You can't see anything on the desert late at night when it's totally overcast, total pitch black. The three of us stood outside the car. We couldn't have been out of the car, 30 seconds to a minute at the most, 1 minute. And all of a sudden, north of us opened up the cloud. The clouds kind of opened up a little bit. We could see the stars out behind. 3 glowing white saucer-shaped, bluish-white saucer-shaped things came through that opening. 4 more followed behind them. 7 bluish-white, glowing saucer-shaped things about the size that the moon would appear in the sky at night, like a silver dollar held at arm's length. That big. 7 of them right over our heads, and they were moving around, and I absolutely freaked out. I really was very legitimately frightened. Paul and Ivy acted like they were seeing Disneyland for the first time. They were jumping around saying, "Oh my God, how beautiful, look at this." And I'm thinking to myself, I don't know who this is, and I don't know what it represents. All I know is I've never seen technology like this in my life. What I am seeing, I don't want to stick around to find out what's going to come down here next. I got in the car and I was frightened, and Paul and Ivy wouldn't get in the car. Just seeing what they're doing, it shows me the technology they have. They know we are there. They know we're there. So consequently, when they got in the car, I flipped the lights on and put my foot to the floor. Just took off toward the highway, speeding. And when I took off, Paul and Ivy began yelling at each other, screaming at each other, uncontrollably at each other. All I know is I'm driving. I'm frightened to get out of here. I don't know what this is, and I don't want to know what this is. And Paul and Ivy start yelling at each other. All I remember is we stopped the car quickly for one moment. I was not thinking. I was frightened. I wasn't thinking. I stopped the car for a moment to see, what are you screaming about? And I look out and I see them right over our heads, moving around, doing something. I thought, oh my God, now I'm for sure getting out of here. I jumped back in the car and I stomped it. I mean, right to put the pedal to the metal and headed toward the highway. And these things were following us. And Paul and Ivy were leaning out the window, watching the show, while I am absolutely delirious in fear because I didn't want anything to happen to them or me.
Now, Paul, what were you seeing, and how big were these craft? What would be distinguishable about them that we might recognize in other anti-gravitational flying discs that have been reported around the world?
Well, that's the reason why that Ivy and I were shouting at each other, was because we had rolled down our windows. She was in the passenger side. I was right behind her, and we had our heads out the window looking up at these things. And it was a combination of things whereby they had movements which were very graceful type movements that are very slow floating, but also incredibly fast in stopping. They kind of combined that. But in looking out the window while he was driving, what we saw that caused us to shout so much was these things floating, 7 of them floating all together, where it seemed like they were just all touched each other, and then they burst out and formed a perfect circle instantaneously. And it was the most incredible thing that I'd ever seen in my life. And we demanded that he stop the car at that point, because we said, they're basically showing off, let's stop and watch the show. So we did get him to stop the vehicle. We got out, and what we saw next scared him even more, because they did another kind of a star configuration thing too. So
you have to appreciate, this is right over our heads. This is not little lights in the sky. This is 7 bluish white glowing disc-shaped things, no sound, exhibiting technology which was astounding. No sound, being able to move around, do all kinds of configurations.
Jordan, listen, wait a minute. People come out here to see just this, and if one would come out to see that, they could be guaranteed that they could see it. They would spend tens of thousands, maybe even millions of dollars for such a show, and you were there, and you turn around and want to get the hell out.
That's it. And as I said at the beginning, this is one of the things that I will always regret in my life, that I did under pressure and at a very important moment, I did chicken out. And I admit it.
You panicked.
I panicked. Totally. Legitimately. I was totally frightened. Because my thought was they were seeing it as a beautiful, awesome display of technology and beauty. I was thinking, I don't know who this represents. I have no idea what their intentions are toward us. All I know is my gut feeling told me this is not human. This kind of technology and this beauty with no sound, this is something I have never seen, and I've seen a lot of things in my life. Never have I seen anything like this. It was legitimately frightening to me. And it would be still today. I mean, if you had seen what we had seen, I would be interested to see what your normal and natural human reactions would be.
So what did you see, Jordan?
It was a cigar shape, but I've seen it before. I've seen this exact same thing twice before. Once in Burbank about 1.5 to 2 years ago with Paul Hunt of Atlantis Books. We were standing out in the parking lot one afternoon, late afternoon, and Paul and I were standing in the parking lot, and overhead, it looked to be about maybe two or three blocks away, was this long cigar-shaped thing just floating there for a few minutes. And the more we started staring at it, the more it became obvious that this was a UFO, because it wasn't moving. It was just sitting there. And then it just went, it's gone. This one was identical, but now we're seeing it in the daylight. That was the first time I saw it was in the evening, early evening. I've seen it, like I said, twice before, and this is the third time I've seen it, but it's still there. But he's really moved out now. Now it's turning around. You can see it turning. We saw it when it was close. We saw it when it was close here.
It's too faint, yeah.
When it was very, very close. And the moment I got out of the car, I saw it, and I said to Wendy, I said, well, there's the UFO Paul Hunt and I have seen before.